Whispers of a Forgotten Land. In the Forgotten Lands of Eldermire lies a cursed kingdom shrouded in mystery. For centuries, its dark history has been erased from maps, its name only whispered by frightened villagers. But what truly happened within its walls is a secret the world was never meant to know. Ezra Graves, a daring historian obsessed with forgotten legends, couldn't resist the call of Eldermire. Every ancient text he read hinted at the Cursed Kingdom's unimaginable secrets, and a terrible price for uncovering them. Ezra discovered an ancient map in a ruined monastery. Its edges were burnt, and ink stains resembled claw marks. Strange symbols crawled across the parchment as if alive. With trembling hands, he traced the path, unaware it was already binding him to his fate. Days turned into weeks as Ezra traveled through desolate landscapes. The air grew colder with each passing mile, and the whispers in the wind became louder, calling his name, beckoning him closer. Ezra arrived at the last known village before Eldermire, Wormholt. Every home was empty, tables still set with rotting food. Symbols carved in blood-red ink covered the doors, protection, or perhaps a warning. Ezra felt unseen eyes tracking his every move. He turned back toward the dark woods, but only saw shadows shifting between the trees. Yet deep in his heart, he knew he wasn't alone. Crossing the cursed river marked the point of no return. Legend said no one who crossed its dark waters ever returned. As Ezra stepped onto the old bridge, he felt the air freeze, and the first scream echoed through the valley. Finally, Ezra saw it. Eldermire Castle, its towers stretching like claws toward the sky. The blood-red moon bathed its broken walls in eerie light, while dark crows circled above, as if waiting. The massive gates were ajar, rusted with time. A long-forgotten emblem was carved into the iron, a serpent devouring its tail, a symbol of eternity. As Ezra stepped inside, the gates groaned shut behind him. Echoes of long-forgotten voices filled the castle halls. Faint footsteps echoed, but Ezra was alone. Was he hearing memories, or were the castle's dead still lingering in its cursed corridors? Eldermire's ancient library held secrets no mortal was meant to read. One book glowed faintly under moonlight, its cover bound in blackened leather, etched with forbidden runes. Ezra read its cursed pages, unraveling the horrifying truth. King Malric had struck a dark bargain with ancient powers for immortality and doomed his kingdom to eternal suffering. Deep within the castle lay a sealed chamber. Its door pulsed like a living heart, bound with chains forged from midnight steel. Something inside waited. Despite every instinct screaming at him to leave, Ezra broke the ancient seal and unleashed the forgotten horror, awakening something far older than the kingdom itself. Shadows twisted and reformed into the towering figure of King Malric. His hollow eyes glowed with ancient malice. He had waited centuries, and now he was free. With dark forces closing in, Ezra ran through the crumbling castle. But there was no escape. The shadows whispered his name, promising he would never leave. Desperate to escape, Ezra fled into the ancient catacombs beneath the castle, a labyrinth said to house the bones of the cursed. The air was thick with decay, and distant whispers echoed through the tunnels, but there was no turning back. The deeper Ezra went, the stronger the presence became. Ghostly faces formed in the stone walls, their hollow eyes filled with sorrow and rage. They whispered forgotten prayers and cursed him for disturbing their eternal slumber. Ezra stumbled upon a forgotten altar marked with strange symbols. Dark energy radiated from its cracked surface. A cruel truth dawned on him. This was where the king performed his last forbidden ritual, and failed. Ezra found an ancient mural etched into the stone walls, showing King Malric summoning a dark entity in his quest for immortality. But the ritual consumed his soul and cursed the entire kingdom to eternal suffering. Before he could flee, a spectral figure appeared, the lost Queen Alara. Betrayed by her king, she was trapped between life and death, her soul bound to the castle. "Leave before he finds you," she warned. Queen Alara revealed that only the seal of eternity, hidden in the castle's heart, could banish King Malric forever. But using it came at a terrible cost. The user's soul would be bound to the curse forever. Ezra barely escaped as Malric's twisted servants, the Phantom Hunters, emerged from the shadows, creatures of darkness, bound by eternal hunger and driven by their master's will. Ezra finally reached the cursed throne room. The heart of Eldermire, broken throne sat covered in dust, but King Malric's dark essence filled the air, watching, waiting. King Malric emerged, clad in cursed armor forged from shadows. He promised Ezra eternal power if he surrendered the seal. But Ezra knew that even accepting mercy from such a monster meant certain doom. With no escape left, Ezra held the seal of eternity, its power burning through his hands. He had only two choices: wield the cursed power and lose his soul, or perish and let darkness consume the world. With the seal of eternity blazing in his grasp, Ezra faced King Malric in a battle of fate. Blades of cursed steel met bursts of ancient magic. Every strike shattered the air with echoes of tortured souls. Malric's power seemed limitless, fueled by centuries of dark magic. Ezra's strength began to fade as the castle itself turned against him, walls shifting, shadows constricting, trapping him deeper within Eldermire's twisted heart. Cornered and battered, Ezra remembered Queen Alara's warning. The seal demands a price. He raised the ancient relic and invoked its forbidden power, knowing it could destroy him, or worse. The seal answered Ezra's desperate plea. Spirits of the fallen knights of Eldermire emerged, chained to the curse but burning with vengeance. They turned on their former king, but their loyalty came with dark intentions. Amidst the chaos, Queen Alara appeared, wielding ancient light against Malric's dark forces. But every moment she fought, her soul weakened, bound by the curse she could never escape. Realizing defeat was near, Malric abandoned his mortal form. Darkness erupted as he became a monstrous entity, a nightmare forged from shadows and endless hatred. The castle trembled as Malric's transformation shattered reality itself. Ezra was pulled into the shattered realm, where space and time twisted, and escape seemed impossible. The seal's magic surged through Ezra, granting him unnatural strength, but every spell tore at his soul, threatening to consume him. Power always comes with a price, and his debt was coming due. Amid the shattered ruins, Ezra stumbled upon a forgotten prophecy carved in burning runes. Only a soul willing to be lost can break the chains of eternity. The meaning was clear. To save the world, he would have to sacrifice everything. With no escape left, Ezra prepared the final binding ritual. He etched ancient runes into the castle's stone floor, using the last of the seal's power, but it demanded one final, terrible price. To imprison Malric forever, Ezra offered his own soul to the seal. Blinding light erupted as the curse consumed him, sealing both souls into eternal darkness. With the ritual complete, Eldermire Castle, its dark history, and every cursed soul within began to collapse into the abyss. A cursed kingdom, finally erased from the mortal world. Years passed and Eldermire became nothing more than a whispered legend. Some claimed to hear distant footsteps in the wind. Others spoke of a cursed soul still wandering the earth, bound by the seal's eternal power. In forgotten lands, travelers speak of a lone wanderer, cloaked in darkness, wielding a glowing artifact bound in cursed runes, a soul trapped between life and death. They say the cursed wanderer guards the world from forgotten evils, forever bound to the seal of eternity, forever cursed to roam, never finding peace. Centuries passed, but dark forces never rest. In the distant lands beyond the cursed valley, storm clouds swirled, and the ancient magic sealed within Eldermire stirred once more, awakening something far worse than King Malric. Far from Eldermire, a young warrior named Kalen discovered an ancient secret, a bloodline connected to the Cursed Kingdom. His ancestor's name was scratched into forbidden scrolls. Ezra Graves. Haunted by shadowy visions of a crumbling castle and a figure cloaked in darkness, Kalen felt the pull of destiny. Whispers echoed through his mind. You must finish what was started. On a stormy night, Kalen encountered a cloaked figure wielding a cursed blade. It was Ezra, now an eternal guardian. "Turn back," Ezra warned, "or be consumed by the curse I failed to break." But destiny could not be denied. The seal of eternity, thought to be unbreakable, now lay cracked. Something far darker than Malric was pushing through. Something even Ezra feared. From beyond the abyss, a forgotten power rose. Not Malric, but a far older king, one who ruled before time itself. His name had been erased from history, but his hunger for domination remained eternal. The prophecy Ezra uncovered was incomplete. It spoke not only of Malric's downfall, but of a darker fate. The kingdom's curse shall be broken, only when the world itself shatters. Dark legions rose from the Cursed Valley, twisted and reshaped by dark magic. Bound by the ancient king's will, they prepared to conquer a world that had long forgotten them. Realizing his fate, Kalen took up an ancient sword forged from the last light of Eldermire's forgotten past. With Ezra's reluctant guidance, he prepared for the coming war, but even the blade's power might not be enough. Together, they traveled toward the forgotten lands where the cursed castle once stood. But Eldermire's ruins were now a twisted wasteland where even shadows feared to tread. As they crossed into the cursed lands, reality itself shattered. The Dark King's magic twisted the earth, blending past, present, and future into a living nightmare. Amid the swirling chaos, Queen Alara's spirit returned, now wielding ancient power even greater than before. But her fate was still tied to Eldermire, and her time was running out. With the Dark King's legions closing in, the final battle erupted. Kalen, Ezra, and Alara fought with all their might, wielding the last remnants of magic left in the world. But destiny would not be denied. In a moment of sheer desperation, Kalen unleashed the full power of the broken seal, knowing it would consume him. But it was the only way to destroy the Dark King once and for all. As the dark forces were banished, Eldermire vanished into the mist, its fate sealed once more. Yet whispers of the Cursed Kingdom still linger in forgotten legends, waiting for the next soul destined to break the cycle or be consumed by it. Though the Dark King was defeated and Eldermire vanished into the mist, strange whispers still haunted the wind. Stories of a cursed land reappearing under blood-red moons spread among wandering travelers. Deep in the forgotten lands, a small village stood untouched by time. Yet its people lived in fear, never speaking of what lurked beyond the cursed woods. They called it the Silent Vale. One stormy night, a hooded stranger arrived. His eyes burned with secrets long buried. His arm was marked by the cursed sigil of the Seal of Eternity, but his name remained unknown. The villagers spoke of legends passed down through generations, of a cursed king, a forgotten queen, and a doomed warrior who sacrificed his soul. But the story was far from over. Deep in the heart of the cursed forest, the shattered seal of eternity stirred. Its fractured surface still pulsed with dark power, calling out to something far older than Malric. From the shattered seal emerged something far more sinister, the First Darkness, an ancient force older than humanity itself, a being even King Malric once feared. The ancient prophecy of Eldermire spoke of the final awakening, a time when the cursed would rise again. As the blood moon approached, the prophecy's true meaning became clear. One shall rise, but two must fall. Driven by the seal's magic, Queen Alara's spirit appeared before the hooded stranger, her face filled with desperation. "You cannot run," she whispered. "The darkness knows your name, and your fate is sealed." The hooded stranger revealed his true identity. Darian Graves, descendant of Kalen, and the last surviving heir of Eldermire's cursed bloodline. The seal's power was his birthright, and his greatest curse. As the blood moon rose, reality itself shattered. Time twisted, and Eldermire's dark castle emerged once more. But its halls were darker, its curses more deadly. Eldermire rose from the ashes, reborn as the Forsaken Keep, a fortress where nightmares walked the halls and forgotten souls cried out for release. But none ever escaped. From the throne of shadows emerged not Malric, but the Forgotten King, a dark deity bound long before Eldermire's fall. He was the source of all curses, and his power was absolute. Darian, wielding the reforged seal of eternity, led the last free souls into battle. Light and darkness collided in a war fated to reshape the world, or end it. Darian faced an impossible choice: use the seal's full power and lose his soul like his ancestors, or let the forgotten king consume the world. One shall rise, but two must fall. In a final desperate act, Darian unleashed the last of the seal's power and shattered it forever. As reality crumbled, light and darkness were consumed, leaving nothing but an empty, silent void. When the seal of eternity shattered, reality itself collapsed. Eldermire was consumed by the void between worlds, a timeless abyss where forgotten souls wandered, and ancient evils awaited rebirth. Drifting in the dark, Darian's broken body was claimed by the abyss. But something ancient stirred deep within the void, forgotten but never destroyed, waiting for the perfect vessel. Just as the last spark of life faded from Darian, the shattered remnants of the seal reignited. A single rune still burned, binding him to a destiny he could never escape. Darian awoke in chains before the Abyssal Warden, a monstrous being forged from lost souls. Its task was eternal: to guard the borders of reality and ensure that none escaped the void. Faced with endless imprisonment, Darian made a deadly bargain. His soul would remain bound, but in exchange he would wield forbidden power to reshape the fractured world, at a cost even he couldn't imagine. With cursed magic coursing through his veins, Darian set out across the forgotten path, a bridge between realms said to lead to the heart of reality, or into eternal damnation. Along the forgotten path, Darian encountered the first echo, souls of warriors from timelines erased by the seal's destruction. Some sought redemption, others revenge. Reality itself was fractured. Entire kingdoms drifted as broken memories, trapped between existence and oblivion, ruled by forgotten kings who refused to surrender their power. Unbeknownst to Darian, an even greater force watched from beyond the void. The shadows whisper, an ancient being cast out long before time itself, and it had plans of its own. At the edge of the forgotten path stood the Gate of Forgotten Kings, sealed by a power older than the universe. Behind it lay the heart of reality, the only place where destiny could be rewritten for a terrible price. As Darian approached the cursed gate, Queen Alara's fading spirit appeared one last time. "You must not open it," she begged. "What lies beyond is worse than death." But destiny could not be denied. Betrayed by a trusted companion twisted by the void's corruption, Darian was left alone to face his destiny. Darkness consumed everything, but his will burned brighter than ever before. With the gate shattered, the eternal king, the original source of all curses, emerged, claiming the throne of the fractured world. His hunger was limitless, and reality itself would be his feast. Armed with forbidden power, Darian stood alone against the eternal king. The last battle between light, darkness, and destiny had begun, and the fate of all worlds hung in the balance. With time unraveling and reality shattering, Darian made the final choice. He invoked the Rune of Eternity, knowing it would destroy him, but perhaps, just perhaps, it could rewrite the fate of all existence. As the Rune of Eternity activated, time fractured completely. Past, present, and future collided, reshaping the universe itself. But even in the chaos, the Eternal King's hunger remained infinite. The rune's power drew Darian and the Eternal King into the heart of the abyss, a place beyond reality where fate could be rewritten, but only one could emerge alive. In the moment of utter collapse, Queen Alara returned, not as a fading spirit, but as the Queen of Shadows and Light, forged from both darkness and hope. Her destiny was intertwined with the fate of all existence. As reality crumbled, the Eternal King's true name was spoken, Evanor, the first betrayer, a being cast out from the dawn of creation, whose only desire was to rule or destroy. Once enemies, Darian and Alara forged a final alliance, knowing they could not escape fate, but could still defy it. Their oath was simple: we fall together, or rise as one. With the Eternal King's power surging, Darian and Alari merged their magic, reforging the shattered seal into the final seal, a weapon of unimaginable power, but one that demanded the ultimate sacrifice. The final battle raged across collapsing worlds. Light and shadow clashed in a storm of reality-shattering magic. But even together, Darian and Alara were losing ground. With every spell cast, the final seal drained their souls. Alara fell, consumed by the dark flames of the abyss, leaving Darian alone to make the final, impossible choice. Knowing there was no victory, Darian made the ultimate sacrifice. He bound the Eternal King, Queen Alara, and himself within the final seal, locking their souls in an endless battle, ensuring no evil could ever escape. With the final seal buried beyond time, reality was restored. Eldermire vanished, remembered only in forgotten legends. But in the darkest corners of the world, some still whisper, "Beware the blood moon, for the Cursed King, the Shadow Queen, and the last heir still fight, waiting for the day the seal finally breaks." Is the curse truly broken, or is it waiting to return? Like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales, dark legends, and forgotten destinies. Because some stories never end.